Hello everyone, it's Raven here with another gameplay replay of Bretonnia versus the Empire. So sorry I was gone for a couple days there and haven't been posting anything on my channel. I actually went to go see a concert, but I am back now and I'll be posting regularly as I always try to do. Also keep in tune with my channel because this Wednesday, I think it's going to be the 25th, there's going to be a gameplay reveal for the Norskin race, which CA was trying to do last week, but they had some technical difficulties when the stream started, so they're unable to do that broadcast like they were planning to. However, this week it will be going off without a hitch, hopefully, and I will be able to put out a video on that and be able to break down any of the gameplay and any of the mechanics that I'm able to see and be able to give you a really good idea on how they're going to be able to pan out and play against the other factions in the game currently, and any kind of insight I might be able to pick out from things like their lords and how their abilities work, things like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this replay here. I got two units of Questing Knights going for that armor-piercing damage and be able to stick them against Great Swords or any of the Demigryph Knights with halberds, anything like that that the Empire might have brought. And for a front line, I went with 4 units of Battle Pilgrims and 3 units of Foot Squires and a single peasant mob to take the initial brunt of the fight for these Foot Squires before they got into the action, so they'd be relatively unhindered damage-wise. And then for my leadership core, 2 paladins on Pegasus Knights, excuse me, and then over here King Luan Leonka on his legendary mount right here. So you actually see I brought the Sword of Couronne, so that minus 30 armor, minus 36 melee defense, the Lion Shield, because I did figure that my opponent was going to bring the silver bullets, and with the extra missile resistance and magic resistance would keep him very healthy if he engaged someone like Karl Franz in the air, which would be very crucial. The regeneration, of course, and the physical resistance for the Blessing of the Lady, so very crucial skills for him. And in the back here, I have a damsel on just a regular horse, not a barded war horse or anything like that, with the the Earthblood ability and Earth Bloom and Arcane Conduit, so trying to get her doing as much healing as I can to my big peasant blobs as they get into the front line. Over here for my opponent, he has so many units. Just look at this massive, massive army compared to mine, so thin and fragile. So he has 1,297 to my 844. Right here you can see a front line of handgunners, 1 unit of silver bullets, the Regiment Renown, and a back line right here, 4 spearman units with shields, then behind them 3 halberdiers, and then behind them 3 great swords, and then the Tattersouls, the flagellants, so the unbreakable unit. In the back here, very, very back, a mortar. So this guy's actually going to be doing some really good damage. Something to note about these guys is with their high fire angle, when troops are engaged in combat, they're able to shoot straight over the top of them and get damage straight across the lines, no matter where they are, pretty much. For the Jade Wizard over here, he has Earthblood as well. And then for this General of the Empire on a Barded Warhorse right here, he has the Potion of Toughness and Foe Seeker for that bonus to Vigor and Speed. So he's going to play the numbers right here. So he brought a lot of anti-cavalry units right here. As you can see, spears and halberds, and then some good armor-piercing damage with these great swords to fend off any foot squires I might have brought. So this army is going to be really effective against me, especially this firing line right here. Those guys are going to do lots of damage. So we'll go ahead and kick it off, see what happens right here. Probably initially just going to be some shots from the mortar coming up. There they go, right there. They'll come in here, and I was thinking they're going to target the foot squires right here initially, but thankfully they weren't. They're going after the peasant mob, so that's good for me. Doing some absolutely atrocious damage already right off the gate. Already losing 1,200 HP out of the 6,400 that they have, so they're down to 5,200 HP and lost several models right here. Just absolutely blown to bits. This guy is actually just cut in half by the explosions. It's rather unfortunate for them, but nobody cares about peasants. They're just farmers anyways. And here you can see some brutal guns coming in. The gun line, as is, the Empire just set up and absolutely just shot down these poor questing knights. I lost a lot of HP on these guys, sadly, and they're going to keep withering them down as I try to pull them around, trying to circumvent his forces right here and try and get them in for any rear charges. Over here, the gun line opening up on my peasant mob still. I was a bit surprised about this. I think he is trying to target my foot squires, but my peasant mob is in the way. This one's firing against the peasant mob. This one's targeting the foot squires in the back, but only able to get that little corner. Over here, handgunners start trying to shoot in on my questing knights, but get obstructed because they're in between these lines and blocked by people standing all around. However, these questing knights are going to do great against these backline greatswords right here, and as you can see, the front line engagement is starting. The first blood coming from the damsel over here with the Lure of Life, hitting one person and nothing else. Over here, the swords, the spearmen start engaging with my battle pilgrims mixed in with my foot squires, so this is going to be an absolute rout for these guys, sadly. My battle pilgrims are absolutely going to tear apart his front lines, thankfully, with their high weapon damage and the low armor of the basic infantry from the Empire. Over here you can see that his backline is left relatively unprotected. He has everything poured into the front right here. He does have some guns in the back and these halberdiers over here, but I wasn't really paying attention. So over here you can see I'm rear charging these questing knights into this greatsword unit, which turns around and tries to take them out. The silver bullets start firing in, but over here his lord is going to start taking a beating and starts running away actually, and lost almost half of its HP. I start doing some amazing work against the Jade Wizard over here with my 2 paladins, and I have the king over here sicked on 2 units of handgunners. One pulls out, and then he pulls into halberdiers, and he charges back in the general of the Empire. So I start having to pull out my my heroic units right here. I don't want them taking any damage from his king coming in. So the paladin right here actually takes some pretty good shots from this firing line back here, and these units of questing knights absolutely get chopped down to pieces. Over here, this unit of questing knights absolutely tore up this greatsword unit. They were not shot by any of the handgunners over here, so he is pulling in the halberdiers and his general. Over here in the front line, you can see that the king is absolutely terrifying and shredding apart the front line, and my units are winning very handily against his low-tier units because I did spend quite a lot of money on my front tier. Even though it wasn't as thick as him, they are paying for themselves quite heavily. As you can see, 300 to 300 losses right here, but they're going to start being able to win the day and be able to power through to the units in the back here very, very shortly. And I'm keeping them very healthy with all these Earthbloods. And he is also healing up all of his units back here, all the handgunners and all that stuff. He's keeping them very healthy instead of going for healing up his front line. Lost lots of micro. All 3 of these units had no micro on them whatsoever. They're just standing there completely unused while my paladins and the king are just absolutely bogged down by these halberdiers. And if you take a look right here, this mortar is absolutely just racking up kills. Now watch this shot come in right here. It's just going straight over the top, and it's just absolutely tearing apart my forces. This is so unfortunate. Here comes 2 more. That one misses slightly, so that's okay for me. But as you can see, it's gaining kills quite rapidly every single time it fires in and doing extremely good damage because they do have that bonus versus infantry, I believe, or just very good against them. Over here, these halberdiers are torn apart by my battle pilgrims as I was expecting, and the Lord is actually able to tear out these guys. So I start pulling them through and start trying to get rid of these handgunners because they are just breaking my forces right now. They're doing so much work. This unit has 16, this unit only has 5, this unit has 23, and this unit has 40 kills. Together, that's a lot. They might not be having a lot of kills on some of these units, but they're doing amazing HP damage because a lot of it's going towards my knights, my paladins, or all my forces just spread out all over the place, and they're just not actually getting the kills. But over time, they will become quite atrocious to my forces. Over here, you can see the king is actually being shot in the back, and I have to get him out of here before these silver bullet handgunners line up and start trying to take him out with their magical armor-piercing damage, which would have been absolutely atrocious for me. Over here, you can see that he's been healing up his general of the Empire very, very well. He's been trying to pop that potion of toughness and keeping him very healthy with all the earth blood coming from this Jade Wizard over here. And as you can see, my units are absolutely in shambles. I only have my paladins really, and then this one unit of battle pilgrims right here, and another one barely standing. All my other units are being torn apart and routing or being tried to pull back into the fight. This unit of great swords, excuse me, my foot squires over here was absolutely drawn away from the fight, but is finally being brought back in. So I start trying to use the Lord and the damsel in conjunction to try and take out as many of these soft targets as possible. Even though these halberdiers do have good armor-piercing damage, they don't have the best melee attack, and King Luan Leoncoeur is going to be able to walk through them if he gets into too much trouble and go aid anywhere he needs to be. So right here, I'm sensing blood in the water, and I go straight for that General of the Empire right here. I put the King straight on him, and they're going to start doing amazing work. You're going to see the HP of this guy dropping extremely rapidly. Over here, this unit of Questing Knights is doing amazing work for me, able to get some good kills off on these handgunners. 87 kills right now on these guys, only 7 models left and very low HP, but they're going to the last right here. They are standing to the very pit of their existence. They're going to go down with the fight. So thank God for these guys right here. They're doing some good work for me, whereas the other ones were absolutely mowed down in the fight early on by some handgunners when I sucked them onto that other unit of great swords in the back line. Might have even been these guys right here. So as you can see, the General of the Empire got pulled out of the fight, and I had the King in here, and he's getting really close to that healing cap, so every bit of his HP is becoming so vital right now. The more he loses, the closer my forces become to being just routed from the field. So over here, I'm able to rout the General of the Empire, and I just sick this unit of, my Paladin straight on him. I don't give up on him until I see the shatter or he dies. So thankfully, he gets the last hit right there and takes him off of his mount. Thank God, just ended that once and for all, cut off his head. So we're done with that guy. From here, I'm going to be able to start using the terror ability from my lord right here, and it's going to be able to route these guys extremely quickly. I have a very healthy unit of foot squires coming in here, going to be intercepted by this mortar unit, but overall, this Jade Wizard being terror routed right here and routing is not going to be able to do any good work, and I'm going to start sticking all these paladins to start going after any unit I can see that's weak, trying to rear charge them. As you can see, went after the Jade Wizard right there with the Paladin, and now I'm going to throw my King right here into the middle with the leadership right here wavering all across these units in the middle. The terror routing is just going to kick in almost instantaneously. Without the leadership of a Lord or some sort of unit with encouragement nearby, units absolutely are just devastated by effects like fear and terror, because you got to think, fear alone causes -10 to leadership, and terror kicks in whenever somebody starts losing combat. When you start engaging a Lord like King Luan Leonkar and his Griffin right here, it's just not going to be a good time. It's going to absolutely destroy people. Sorry, Hippogriff, that's what they ride. The Empire has the Griffins. So, King Luan Leonkar here, able to pull out the W. This is a very, very tough fight. All my units started coming back though in the fourth quarter, thankfully, and able to help me out. In the end, these unit of Battle Pilgrims with their very high leadership coming in, even though they were so tattered, and this unit of foot squires being so healthy but being routed from the field very early on, coming back in the late game, was able to win it for me. And these paladins did some amazing work for me. Let's go ahead and take a look at these kills here. So if you take a look, the Paladins got 67 and 49 kills between the two of them, not to mention all the damage they put onto the Jade Wizard and the General of the Empire, and the King here with almost the highest amount of kills, barely beat by these Battle Pilgrims with 111, but the King with 109 kills by himself. He is no doubt the biggest force to be reckoned with on any battlefield that he's on. So very good play from my opponent. Picked a quite opposite build from what I was expecting. I was expecting a very small army that was more cavalry centric, so I went with that goon squad trying to get in and do some good work if he had brought like Demigryph Knights and things like that. So very interesting build, very, very fun game, and I hope to see you again on the ladder positive. Very good game to my opponent here. As always, guys, keep in tune with my channel. Like I said, I will be posting more videos regularly, and that gameplay breakdown will be coming on Wednesday if they do post the Norska replay for their battles that they have been talking about on their Facebook. So keep an eye out for that. As always, guys, leave a like if you like what you saw. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. And as always, I'll catch y'all later.